I think my internet's fucked. Okay.
Oh, it
Welcome
started.
everyone to episode 90 of the Looks Like a Movie podcast. My name's Kevin. I'm here with Doug and Owen, and today we're talking about Sean Baker's new movie Anora. But first, as always, we can talk about what we watched this past week. Doug, you want to go first?
Oh my gosh.
Owen,
Oh
you want
my
to go
freaking
first?
god. So
Uh,
I
Okay.
watched I didn't really watch a lot. I watched a couple Halloween movies. Not Halloween the franchise. Halloween is in horror movies.
Yeah.
Um watched two Hooper flicks, including Life Force and well, like okay, me, Owen, and some friends watched I'm Dangerous Tonight and Tales from the Crypt Demon Night together on
Yeah.
Halloween, which was jolly. Both of those are good movies.
Oh, is that the end of the list?
That's it. Yeah, I didn't watch a lot.
okay. So I watched The Quiet Man, the John Ford movie. Really beautiful. Like kind of really like high saturation fantasy like colors. About Ireland. So it's like really popping, beautiful colors with like obviously the amazing John Ford landscapes. Really, really good movie. Then I watched the movies like we're talking about, and then I watched two movies that we're not talking about this week. But I don't know what the deal with that is going to be. I mean, I'll probably talk about more on like the end of the year kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But those being Juror Number Two in Here, Robert Zemeckis is Here, and Clint Eastwood's Juror Number Two. Two kind of late career movies from some like well talked about prestigious directors. I thought both of them were really great. I think Juror Number Two is one of the best movies of the year. I think if that is playing near you, definitely seek it out because it's not really playing near anybody. Not in the U.S. In like the Europe and stuff, it's like playing all over, but it's
Yeah, which
only
is
playing in a
weird.
few theaters in America. But definitely check that one out. One of the best screenplays of the year. Really great performance from Nicholas Holt. It looks great. Yeah, really great movie. I think Here is also really interesting. Not a lot of. I don't think everyone's gonna really jive with it. It's super like boomer, like Robert Zemeckis.
Yeah.
But it's like it's
Is
boomer in like a really like sweet way, and I think it does work in that. Like I think it is uh, very sweet. It's really interesting kind of experimentation, and I think it's one of those movies that like doesn't exist unless you're like a name like Zemeckis, and normally names like that aren't trying something like this, and I think it's very interesting on that level, and I think it does work, and I think the last section or scene or whatever you want to call it is a really strong payoff, and I think I was kind of like, oh, I'm really liking this, I'm really liking this, and then the last like moment happens, so like the conclusion of the film happens, and I'm like, okay, I'm sold. I really was won over by that. I think it's one of those things where you're setting up this premise for the whole length of the movie, and then is it going to work? Are you going to you know uh, do it right? Are you going to kind of succeed in that attempt? And I think it really does nail it. I'm not a huge Tom Hanks guy. Really interesting performance from him as he's playing all these various ages, and he's kind of. It reminds me a lot of another Tom Hanks movie, the Wachowskis,
Yeah, Cloud Atlas.
Cloud Atlas. It's not the same where Tom Hanks isn't playing like different races or
Does he
something.
do like Yellowface in here?
No, there isn't. There isn't Tom Hanks Yellowface, but it has a similar vibe of like you know spanning time and like the kind of emotions in this. It's like the way that it's edited. It's not like edited like you know chronologically. It's bouncing around different times. And I don't know, really interesting movie. I would recommend checking that one out as well. Really sweet, and that's kind of all I watched in that span. That's really notable. But yeah, I Here and Journal Number Two are two of the best of the year. I would say for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch Stir Number Two on my phone on a plane sometime. You know what I mean? That's really gonna be exciting for me.
yeah,
Uh,
Wait, so what's the
yeah, yeah.
closest theater to you showing it? You said is it
I
Chicago?
I literally have no idea. It's probably Chicago. Um,
Damn.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like not
that's
even
very
it doesn't
unfortunate.
even show up on some of my apps when I type it
Which is
in.
kind of
Like,
crazy because that movie would go crazy for all those old people in Nebraska. Like they would love that shit.
Yeah.
I both movies, Journal Number Two and Here, uh, there was a lot of old people that really had a great time in my theater for sure. It was they were
Yeah.
hooting and hollering. Big Zemeckis and Eastwood heads. in a certain
Right.
demographic that were they're eating good this week, at least
Yeah.
those in the right area.
Yeah.
Remember when Horizon Part 2 was supposed to come out months ago?
Dude, imagine
If it came out
there
the same weekend as Juror number
Horizon Part
2.
2, Robert Zemeckis is here, and then juror number 2, Clint Eastwood. Talk about a year for the guys, the
Yeah.
elder guys.
Yeah, a year for your uncle, you know?
Yeah, they're eating up tonight.
I also did not watch that much. I did see also a new 2024 release, although via YouTube, Rap World, the Conor O'Malley
I was like, they played
movie
Memoir of
that
a Snail on YouTube.
no, we'll get to that. Yeah, I don't know. People were like raving about it, and I never watched that Conor O'Malley short that everybody was talking about. Corey's, I think it's called,
Yeah,
right? I'm not really familiar. I'm familiar with him as like a comedian. I'm
good
not
guy.
familiar
That's
with
a
him
guy.
as yeah, like I'm familiar with him as a person. I have not watched any of the stuff that he's made. But everybody was talking about Rap World so highly, and I had like an hour to kill, and it's only an hour long, so I was like, I'll throw it on. And it just got funnier and funnier like the longer it went on. I was like, I totally get, because the first like 10-15 minutes, I'm like, yeah, this, I get why people would like this. And then like the jokes just really start coming in, and I was just like dying laughing. Like there's like a number of scenes where I like could not stop laughing. It's so like it's such a good period piece of a period that's not that long ago. But anybody who is like, I would say above the age of 20 would just have a blast watching that
So
movie. Like it's
different
just
demographic
so
than the ones we were just talking about. Like
yeah, it's
you don't think those
specifically a
guys
demo.
would like
Yeah, those
this?
people are way too old to watch Rap World, I think. But there's some jokes that would definitely go over their heads, I think.
Yeah.
But like if you're between the ages of like 20 and 40, it is like the best way to spend an hour
Oh,
at
40.
home.
Okay, 40's
Yeah,
old.
well, because it takes place in 2009, and it like, but it kind of gets like the
Okay,
like
so like
inter.
people who were like 20 in 2009 might still vibe with it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it's like, well, because it's like
I
a
see. I
wide
see.
range. It takes place in 2009, and it's very 2009. But as somebody who was like too young in 2009 to completely understand it, I
I
do
mean,
still completely
15 is not
understand
that
it.
young.
Shut up.
15 and I think you were like you were around enough in 2009.
But like it
What,
like
you were
I think it.
15 in
Oh
2009?
my god. I think it
I'm
captures a
sorry.
window that goes between like it's like 2006 to 2014 internet era, I would say. And also not just
The
internet era,
trenches,
but
as some might call it.
kind of just like the vibe of that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
time, like the way that people are. And you don't even really need to understand the internet stuff to just understand that it's like a movie about like, I mean, it's about these like four guys creating a rap album one night, and it's like anybody you like know who went to your high school, who kind of like peaked in high school, like you'll just watch it
Like
and
they
you'll
had
be
a
like,
rap
this is
album.
yeah, like this is it's like everything will be funny to you. It's very silly. It's a really good time.
Did
Uh
you hear Conor O'Malley's explanation for why he wanted to set it in 2009?
oh, was it the Iraq War thing or
No,
something
it was a
or
Dark
the
Knight.
Yeah, he said they wanted to talk about the Dark Knight.
oh, what was the quote about like the Iraq War that he said or something, where they were like,
I don't
they said
I didn't
know.
see
said
that.
something, they asked him some question. I don't want to misquote it, but it was a very funny quote where they asked him like some question about like making like a sequel or something with the same characters, and he like, I don't, it was
They
very
all went to
silly.
war?
No, no, no. It was like I'm again. I'm gonna misquote it, but he said something about like if they did it again, it would be like the same guys playing different characters in like 2004, but they're all soldiers in the Iraq War or something. It was very silly. Anyway, then I
Those guys
watched.
never got to see The Dark Knight.
Then I got to watch Matawan or Matewan. I don't know exactly how you pronounce it, but um, it's a John Sayles movie. That guy pretty good at directing, I'd say. Kind of knows what he's doing. I watched this movie Lone Star, which I guess is his most popular movie back in school,
Lone
and
Star.
I thought that was like pretty good at the
Yeah,
time.
that it was
Now
kind of
I
mid.
no, 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 no. I thought it was good when I watched it, but now I kind of want to revisit it because I I would think it's even better after watching Made One.
Yo, this poster's crazy.
Because this movie is like unbelievable. It's about like it's a true story about like a coal miners strike in like a small West Virginia town. And Chris Cooper is like insanely good in it. James Earl Jones is in it, and he's unbelievable in it. Uh, it's just so good. I don't even know how to like. It's very very good movie to be watching at the moment, I think. And I really really liked it. I just like as I was watching it. I mean, it took until like 20 minutes into the movie for me to be like, yeah, it's just like a masterpiece, and then it just like kept going. So I'd recommend everybody watch that one. I rewatched Scream on Halloween because it's Halloween. But I did watch it with the
It's
commentary,
Halloween. It's not
which
Scream.
was wow. Okay.
Screamoween.
It's
Um,
Scream Day.
and then
What
I
if they
You
called it
rewatched.
watched wait,
Halloween Day?
you watched
What if they called it
Scream
Halloween Day?
2022 though, to be
Five Cream.
specific.
You
Jesus
watched Five
Christ.
Cream
Oh my
on
god.
Halloween.
You watched Five
Um,
Cream? Shout out Wes
uh,
Craven though.
yeah, the commentary with him was very cool.
Bro's
Yeah,
the
that's a
goat,
good one.
low key.
It's he's awesome to listen to, and Kevin Williamson as well is fun to listen to. Like from a screenwriter's perspective, I'm like there's like I don't know when they talk about script stuff like pretty often in the commentary, and that stuff's really cool. Rewatched Anora, of course, to prepare for this, and then yesterday I saw Memoir of a Snail, which I don't know if that really gets like the appropriate release for us to do a whole podcast episode on it. But definitely a 2024 movie worth seeing for a lot of people. I know that Doug is a big fan of Mary and Max, which I have not seen. Now I would like to see
Doug, he
it
hasn't
after
even seen
watching
it. He hasn't even seen
this.
Marion
Okay,
Max.
whatever. That's not.
Yeah.
No, it's like it's such a cute movie, and the main character, you just like, man, I just Grace Puddle. She I just want to
Shout
give
out
her
Grace Puddle.
I just want to give her a hug, dude. She's it's so sweet. And I cried like 4 times. Man, there was like a moment like pretty early into the movie where I just like lost it and I was like, oh, I get it now. And then towards the end, it just fucking I knew it was gonna happen and I still just like couldn't handle it. Like I was so prepared for the ending and it didn't matter at all. It
Oh,
really got me.
Grace Puddle is the main character.
Yes, Grace Puddle is you thought it was an actress?
No, I thought Eric Bana's character would be the main character.
No. It's about Grace Puddle.
Okay.
But also his character is not even like the he's not even really like at
Okay.
all the main. I mean the other main character would be Grace Puddle's
Wait,
brother
is this
Gilbert,
Grace
who is
Puddle?
that is Grace Puddle, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that
Um,
guy, or I thought
it's
that girl was voiced by Eric Bana.
it's about a pair of twin siblings, Grace
Okay.
Puddle and then Gilbert, who Cody Smith McPhee voices. So if anything, Cody
Okay.
Smith McPhee would be the I don't know why the credits are listed like that, um, but regardless, good movie.
You
Would
should
really
watch
recommend.
Mary and Max.
I think I would really like
Um,
Mary and Max. Yeah.
yeah.
It's very cute. Now I'm like going back and I'm like, is Gilbert the no, but it is.
Did
Yeah.
Gilbert Grape win an Oscar?
I'm sorry. What did you just ask?
Who's eating Gilbert's grape?
Right. The movie where Johnny Depp is like a terrible brother to kind of like a comically disabled Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
That was one of my
That's the
favorite
one.
movies as a kid.
That's your
There's, like,
favorite movie?
It was as a kid. At
Yeah.
one point in time, it was my favorite.
Because
movie.
you were like really related to Gilbert.
Yes. There's this
Okay.
one scene where Johnny Depp is like putting Gilbert in a bath and
Yeah.
but like
I know the one.
yeah, and then Johnny Depp's character really wants to go have sex, so he's like,
Yeah,
okay, Gilbert,
It's
you
a
have to,
conflicting.
you got it? Are you okay? I'm gonna go. Like, can you finish
Mhm.
up? Leaving him in the bath, and then when he gets back, Gilbert's still sitting in the bath, like
Yeah.
shivering because the water's freezing, and it's fucked up.
It's one of the many life choices and decisions that you have to make as a young person growing up. Is do you leave him in the bath, or do you have a little fun?
I'm really excited for Memoir of a Snail, though. I think Adam Elliott is one of
Oh, I think you're gonna really like it. Although I guess my understanding is that people think Mary and Max is still better, but I don't know. I'd have to watch it to compare. But is Mary and Max like his first feature length film?
Yeah.
And then Memoir of a Snail is the second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
Mary and Max is.
it's
these
very
things
cute.
take a long time. You have to build these guys'
It's
eyeballs. And
oh no,
things.
I know.
It's
They're
funny.
very the animation's very cute. There's like some really impressive stuff in there.
The cast for Mary and Max is so big. I'm just looking at it. There's only 2 characters in this movie. There's so many actors listed.
Oh, you mean like in little tiny roles? Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
really look at the Memoir of a Snook. I knew Sarah Snook played the lead, but
Harvey Crumpet.
I didn't really. Yeah, Harvey
Shout
Crumpet's a
out.
short though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's pretty short.
I'm familiar. Okay.
He's like a couple clay balls high.
Yeah. Let's talk about Sean
What's
Baker's
like the
Anora.
standard unit of clay ball? Like what
Like measurement?
convert
Probably
that-
like an inch per ball.
That's pretty big. An inch
Yeah.
is pretty big.
You know how big an inch is?
Oh, I know how big an inch is. Yeah.
It's like this.
That's Doug's wrong.
That's
Doug's
not
wrong
an inch,
thing.
dog.
It's
Yeah.
like this, right? It's like
What?
this.
What did you just say?
Anora,
It was like
the
Kevin
new
Durant.
film
Okay.
by the American filmmaker Sean Baker.
Yes.
Filmmaker known for the Florida, Project,
Or his
There you go.
iPhone
Red
movies.
Rocket,
Yes.
Takeout.
You're
what's
missing some. Tangerine.
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 Thank
There
you.
you go.
Tangerine.
There you go.
Okay.
Anyway, we all saw this movie together at New York Film Festival.
That was so jolly. Yeah.
Yeah, or they're
Yeah,
not
like
technically
5
together,
months
I
ago,
guess,
right?
But yeah, well, it's like a month ago.
It was literally 1 month and 2 days ago, I think.
Yeah.
That's when we watched the
Time
movie together.
flies.
Like,
Time flies.
Time Flies is kind of an alternate title for Robert Zemeckis is Here.
Okay, we're losing the train, I think.
No, the train's just, boop, 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 popping off different stations.
no,
Drops
so
some kids
Anora,
off, catching some other kids
written and directed
on.
by Sean Baker.
Is about a sex worker, Anora,
Yes.
Or
who
Annie.
meets, or Annie, who meets a like Russian billionaire's son.
Russian Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah,
Yeah, like an arms
at-
dealer.
Yeah, like an arms dealer. Well, so he like jokes about being an arms dealer, and then he makes her like Google his dad, but you don't see what the Google result is. So like we just kind of have to like what do you think
He's
he
like
actually is? You
he's
know
like
what I mean? Like
An arms dealer.
but is that like confirmed?
No, but that's what I assume.
I feel like he would use more arms if he
Yeah.
was a dealer. Like I don't know. I feel like they would be like more threatening.
Yeah, there's
He-
not really like it's
no,
like the
he has,
guy
like-
that
there's,
the
like,
goons
bodyguards.
are like
Sure,
they're,
but
funny.
you have
He's an
to
important
have
guy. He's an
goons,
important
though.
Russian guy.
Yeah, but, like,
Bill
anybody
Gates
can-
doesn't have goons.
Anybody can have a goon. Bill Gates
no,
has
but like
goons.
but if Bill
No.
Gates lived in Russia, do you think he would have goons?
I
If
don't know.
Bill Gates was Russian, would he have goons?
What if he
Please-
was Ukrainian? Would he have goons?
Okay.
These are the
Doug,
questions.
Doug, you can't
Doug,
like,
these are the questions that
brother,
Doug
this is a
asked
movie
us. These are
podcast.
the
Okay, we
questions
can't
Doug
divide
asked-
the people, dude. This is why our views are going down.
because
Anyway, so
Doug
she
asked
meets
the
this
hard-hitting
Russian
question.
billionaire's son at a strip club, and he like
Named
specifically
Yvonne.
yeah, and he specifically requests her because she speaks Russian. And then it turns into this kind of Cinderella story.
That's why they say you
romance
got to put a lot of
where
things on your
she,
resume, right?
where she finds out that he has all of this money, and so they like spend a couple weeks together, and then he proposes to her, and then the adventure gets crazy
Well,
from there.
he has a little fun, and he doesn't want to stop having fun.
Yeah,
He says, "How about you just you do this for a longer time? How about we
Yeah.
take this whole thing and keep it going?"
Yes.
do we want to
Correct.
start with Mikey Madison?
Yeah,
who
Mikey
plays
Madison.
Anora?
I've seen her in a couple other movies, including
Like
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and The
Cream?
Addams Family.
and Five
Uh,
Cream, bringing
yeah,
it all
Five Cream.
around,
Yeah.
wrapping it around.
There we go. The train has found its place again.
The train has
It's back on the right
dropped-
track.
the
Has
kids are
arrived at the
dropped
station.
off.
Yeah. She's really good in this movie. Hot take.
Oh, you're the first person I think to actually bring this up. I think we are going to break new ground here.
Yeah. Well,
Mikey Madison is good in Anora.
Yeah. So she's currently like the front runner to win Best Actress at the Oscars. She's currently
Yeah.
pretty firmly in the lead, I think. Is this up there with your favorite performances of the year? Would you say?
No.
Oh,
Favorite performances, period, or favorite actress performance?
sure. Favorite lead actress performances of the year.
No.
Um,
Wow.
I mean, what does
Doug
up there
Doug
mean?
hates Honora.
What does up there mean? I mean,
Up
it's
there
like
means
like
that
top
if you
three
got to pick
actresses.
five nominations, would this be one of them? That's crazy
maybe.
that you even
No,
have to
it
think
might
about
be.
it.
It may be.
That's
I'm not
crazy that you
sure.
even have to think
I would have
about
to
it.
sit
That's
down.
so
Well, it's like
wild.
I'm
Yes,
listen.
yes for me. Yes for me.
Yeah, it's a yes for me as well. I mean, that's like a
Mikey
no-brainer.
Madison, I'm clicking the buzzer like this is the fucking voice.
Okay, I
Yeah.
don't like this
My
because you
chair
set
is
me up
turning
to
around.
be like anti Mikey Madison here.
No, I
Which
didn't
What?
like
No, just
set you, I
answer the
didn't set
question.
you up. I just thought this would be like such an
It's just a
immediate like
question. It's just a
I
question.
was
You have
like,
to
I
answer
threw
yes
you a
or no.
softball. You know, this is like the one thing about the movie that is being universally praised by every single person alive. This was like a softball. All you had to do was say yes, and then we move on to
All
the
you have to
next
do
thing.
is
You
hit
know,
it out
but
of the
then
park, man. At
you
least get
came
to
in with a
first
no.
base.
You're saying Mikey Madison doesn't deserve her Oscar. She
You're
doesn't even
saying
deserve a
Mikey Madison
nomination.
should be
deserve her
burned at
Oscar
the
is
stake.
crazy. That's not what I said.
That's what it
But
sounds like.
Do
listen.
you
Not
like
everybody
her or
could be
not?
like blink twice. Not blink twice. What am I saying?
What
Not
the
everybody could
fuck?
be. Not everybody could be like Kate Blanchett in Borderlands.
Not
Not,
everybody could be Zoe Kravitz and Blink
Said
twice.
blink
yeah.
twice. Not everybody.
She
We
doesn't
should
even.
talk about Zoe Kravitz and Channing Tatum splitting up. I didn't put that in the
Oh,
news, but
talk
Not
about
everybody could be Jennifer
bombs.
Lawrence or Jennifer Lopez. Oh my god, my brain isn't
Dude,
Not,
working.
what are you saying?
Oh my god,
not
what am I
everybody can be
saying?
J
What am I
Lo.
saying?
Okay.
Not everybody can be
Sorry,
J
Mikey
Lo and
Madison,
Atlas.
you're
Said
not
blink
J
twice,
Lo.
and now he's confusing Jennifer Lawrence and Jennifer Lopez.
My gosh, my brain is
What
like
the
not
fuck?
Okay,
firing on all
so Doug
cylinders.
hates Mikey Madison. Oh, and
No.
tell us what you thought about Mikey's performance.
Oh, I mean, this movie, this was my first Sean Baker movie, and I was like, okay, yep, I'm ready for it. I'm excited. Uh, sorry, but and this was kind of one of those movies where we saw it at the festival, and the entire like crowd immediately kind of got into it, and it was like a really fun experience. This movie is really fun. It's like just kind of a comedy, and it's a fun ride. And Mikey Madison is kind of take you on that ride with her energy, and she has so much of that, and her character has so much of that. And I think like obviously like she is very much the heart and soul of that. And I think she does a tremendous job kind of selling that, and with a lesser performance you might get it, you easily get a lesser movie, and I don't think she delivers. I think she delivers for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But I think there also is, I mean, the whole selling point of this movie was really like Mikey Madison is a star, and this is like her star movie.
Yeah.
But I think there are other performances in this movie that are also really fantastic. And I think it's really like kind of an ensemble. It's an ensemble picture, really.
Yeah, there's some performances that now watching it the second time around, which I know you guys didn't rewatch it, but now watching it the second time around, because like going into the festival, like you said, like the whole kind of hype around it was Mikey Madison, and it was like this is like a star making thing. And so while we were watching it the first time, I was just like so focused on that because that's just what everybody had talked about. Like you didn't really hear about the rest of the cast. But then when I was just rewatching it, I was like, I love a couple of these guys. Like, the one guy, Karen Karagulian, is in like a bunch of Sean Baker.
He's hilarious. He's
and
so
he
funny
is
in
so
the movie.
fucking funny in this movie. Like the scene towards the end where they're like at the diner and he just starts like ranting at those teenagers, being like, "Your generation has no work ethic." He's so fucking funny.
No, he's fantastic.
And obviously like Mark Edelstein is the one that people are kind of talking about a lot because you know, young Timothy Chalamet or whatever. But I really thought that this time around, Yura Borisov is so fucking good, dude.
Yeah,
I was like, this guy is awesome. Like he just like I don't know. He really
Yura is the performance that really sneaks up on you. As like with Mikey and Mark and Karen, they're really big, and they're all like they're very, you know, and then and Yura is kind of in the background, and he doesn't say much, and then he kind of you kind of they, you know, the camera stays on him a little longer, and you're like, okay, this guy's gonna be a bigger part of this movie than he might, you know, look to be right now. And he slowly, and he never says much, but he slowly kind of really creeps up, and he's doing a lot with a little on the script, really. When he gets a chance to have his speaking moments, he really takes advantage of it, but he does a lot with a little amount. And he's kind of the more, yeah, definitely the underrated performance of the movie. That's he's getting a lot of love, like
now.
online, but in terms of
Yeah.
like underrated with the amount he's given on the page.
Yeah, I mean, when he gets his moments towards the end, it just like he just really shines. I mean, specifically, I think like some of the like, this is now we're getting into pretty deep
Yeah,
spoiler territory for people who care. And it's worth noting, I guess, that this movie, which technically says it had its wide release on November 1st, which is why we're releasing this episode right now, is still not available for some people, because that's just the unfortunate truth. So
yeah,
obviously, if you care a lot about one of the year's biggest movies and you don't want it spoiled, then maybe
yeah.
don't.
Which I would assume
You
is
know,
most people
we'll
who haven't seen the movie.
yeah, we'll try to like avoid giving away any like super big details,
Yeah.
but the like the stuff at like the airport with him, I think like
Hmm.
when he really kind of like becomes like when he stands up for her specifically,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm now you're like kind of rooting for that guy.
Hmm.
And then he really just like wins you over by the end of
Yeah.
it.
Well, that's the thing. With like when they talk about his performance being like kind of creeping up on you and being one that doesn't really fully kind of like get it until the end. I think the movie, like I said with Mikey Madison, like it really needs him to deliver because he's such like the finale and the kind of conclusion of the film really relies on you to like getting attached to these characters and really like liking him as a character with the little that he's given. So you kind of do need his performance to kind of reach you with the little.
Yeah,
So the fact that it does, makes the movie work, which is it's a risky thing with the needing for these performances to really hit. But obviously, Sean Baker has such a great kind of control of that, and these performances are
yeah,
all really great. So that's why it does work. I mean, as well as other things, but I think those, especially Mikey and Yura, have a lot of weighing on them, and I think they really achieve
yeah.
it.
There's like little character details I really appreciate too. Like the stuff with his grandma, I think is really what made me like kind of
Yeah,
like appreciate him as like a character that like there's like something there a little bit because I was like I don't know, it just kind of like it just like explains his character very well, I think, like
yeah.
when he and then even at the end when like she makes fun of his car and he's like, it's my grandma's
Yeah, I
car.
know.
Like, I don't know. Yeah, I thought that was I thought he was specifically like worth talking about a
Yeah.
lot because I couldn't believe, like, I don't know why. I like the first time we watched it, I just like I didn't even really like realize how good he is. And then like I paid so much more attention to it the second time around. I think because I
And
was just
what
kind of like swept up in the movie a little bit more watching
Sure.
it in like a normal theater and like
Yeah.
without all the buzz, just like kind of watching it with a with a handful of people and really
Yeah.
being able to just
I would expect it to be more noticeable how good he is on a second watch just because you know where it's going and you, like, know his
yeah, and so you
importance.
pay attention to the moments where
Because
he
like,
hasn't
he
like
kind of
yeah.
it's one of those, like, Evil Dead things where, like, he kind of walks in, like, a group. Like
Hmm.
Bruce Campbell, he, like, walks in with his buddies and, like, he doesn't like he's not,
Yeah.
like, the center of the frame, he's not, like, the main guy. Then he slowly becomes, like, more, vital to the film.
Yeah.
Whereas it's like he's just one of the, like, the bodyguards. You're like, "Okay, he's whatever." But on second watch, I'm assuming that, you're like, "Oh, that's the guy." It's like,
Yeah.
who has the bigger, he's got more to do.
How
The performances in this movie are all pretty naturalistic, which I think
yeah.
is part of why there's this big push for Mrs. Madison to kind of get hers this year. It's I don't know, it's interesting because uh Sean Baker as a filmmaker really pushes for realism in the kind of situations and performances, and his whole thing is like he wants to represent. I'm saying his whole thing. I feel like he would be upset that I would categorize this as his whole thing, but oh,
No,
but like
do
his
tell
whole
Sean
thing
Baker what his
is
thing is.
is kind of like trying to capture what like how real people that he has kind of like interacted with, how like their experience is in an entertaining situation, right? So it's like he spends a lot of time around sex workers, right? So he's trying to capture like, okay, what what is like the experience of being a sex worker, right? And how do I create a character that feels true to what being like a stripper that is also a prostitute, that it also does this and that kind of like feels like in a big city. And it's like that's how we stumbled on Anora. Whether or not you think that's successful, we all, I mean, everybody does, I guess, on the Palm door. But
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's very naturalistic. So because so Mikey is like doing this, like all of her own dances and like doing like this really thick accent, and like everybody's talking over each other, and it's I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah. I my well my, you just said it, and I don't even like I didn't even really think I needed to talk about it because I just don't know like that I have the strongest opinions about it. But like rewatching it, I was just like, my thing is that like she's so good that she makes, for me, I think, this like more of a character than Honora actually is. Like I wonder if you swap out Mikey Madison for somebody else, if people wouldn't just be like, this Honora character is just not really much of a character at all.
It's an
Um
impossible question. It's an impossible thought experiment because Sean Baker wrote the part for Mikey Madison.
yes, of course. But
Um,
like but it just feels like I don't know. It like it's weird because like you say that it's like obviously he has this fascination with sex workers, and obviously he has like a fascination with telling certain kinds of like American stories about specific groups of people, like like working class people. And like sometimes when I'm watching it, like when I was rewatching it, I was like, I don't know that he totally understands these people as much as it comes off like he does in his other movies. And
and now it's a podcast.
yeah, because it's
Okay.
like no, because it's like I don't know. I'm like, and I saw somebody complaining about this where like I saw some tweet today where somebody quote tweeted somebody and was like, it's funny that all of the people saying that Honora isn't a good character, or like isn't a well-written character, are men, when like actually Sean Baker like nailed the character. And I'm like, okay, we don't need to get there, we don't need to go there, but like it's like I don't know if that's really true. Like it's like to me, I think one detail that I paid so much attention to, that I think like convinced me that maybe this doesn't all make sense, is that she has this like best friend character who is one of her coworkers. Like they both work at the strip club together, and like they introduce that relationship like in like the opening scene of the movie. Like the second scene is them like outside smoking together and like talking, and then like she's just not in the movie really. And it's strange to me because I don't like, my understanding at least, and I think most other movies about this topic would show some kind of like level of community among the people working in a strip club, or like doing sex work. And obviously there's like the one character that she like fights with at the strip club, and it's like, yeah, that probably happens too, like duh. but like for her to have like such a strong like friend that just like doesn't show up at all again when all of this shit is going on, is just like a little bit confusing. And I get that like the movie's trying to be about something else. Like it would, I don't know how she could even get involved in everything that's going on.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Part of like Yvonne takes Annie out of the situation. Like she
Yeah.
takes her out of her life, and like
Yeah.
they physically fly to another city for a whole week. And it's like they're
And I
yeah
get that. But like you couldn't even call her. You know what I mean?
she could have called her. I mean, she
Yeah,
was
it's
probably
just
texting
off
her.
screen
Like yeah,
calling.
yeah.
It's just like I don't know. It's just like hard. It's I just feel like Mikey Madison elevates it so much, and so much of like like how would you even like, I don't know, like it just feels like so much of the characterization is stuff that Mikey Madison brings to the role, as opposed to stuff that was like written on paper, which is fine, because it all works, and she's like a character who you want to root for and get behind, and it is like contagious, like it is like funny, and then like you do feel bad for her by the end, and like all of it like emotionally works. But like when I compare it to like something like Tangerine, and you say that like Sean Baker's trying to make these kinds of movies, it is like starkly different to me which one feels like a human movie about like real people. Like Tangerine feels so much more like a movie about real people.
Okay, so this is interesting because I don't entirely agree with you, like overall with I think you're like with the big part of it, but I do agree with that what you just said. I think that this is my least favorite Sean Baker film, but I this is still a very good film. But the thing about Tangerine, that part of what makes Tangerine so special is that he's not using any professional actors. Like
Yeah,
it's just like these actual real people that are actually poor in LA, and then and him capturing like what his experience with that city is like, um
yeah,
around communities like this. And that's part of why Tangerine is so special. But even and I think that the I think honestly part of my friction with Anora is, and this is funny because it's not where you were going with this, but part of my friction with this film is the lack of non-professional actors, is the fact that everybody in this film is like a career actor. um
mhm,
I think that it, and also the fact that the film has like is a very like funny script. It really kind of feels like a studio comedy for the bulk of the film.
yeah.
um I think those things together, and then another layer that's like kind of outside of the piece, is the fact that it is his most critically acclaimed movie by like quite a bit by
Yeah,
now.
well, that's what I wanted to
Yeah,
talk about.
one
I
far.
want to do Oscar
Like
talk at the end, kind of, because I feel like that's like something that we could talk about a little bit. But that is one of like those things that I was thinking about, and that I even mentioned in my review. Is like I do feel like do like a lot of this stuff is like it makes sense that this is the movie of his that's being received the way that it is out of all the movies he made. Like this is like easily the most broadly appealing movie he's made. It's like the most accessible one by far. Um, so
yeah, I mean, it's funny. It's really funny, and it's like it's really simple. It's a very simple movie. But my thing,
Yeah.
but like, bro, the Florida Project, people like that movie. Like that was a successful kind of art house film,
mhm,
and that film is so good. That movie is so
yeah,
good. And I think that movie really captures kind of lightning in a bottle in terms of like what it's like to be a poor person in America, right? Like it is so fucking crazy. Whereas Honora, maybe that's how sex, but also like I'm a lot closer. Like my experience is a lot closer to something like the Florida Project than it is to something like Honora. Um, I'm not a stripper, but
glad
I
we got
wonder if
that soundbite on the
Someone
pod.
someone clip that and tweet it to me because that's a great clip there.
but I wonder if the way that I feel about the Florida Project is how some people feel about Honora, where
And
they're
I'm
like
sure it is.
Honora
Yeah,
really captures the experience in a bottle.
yeah.
Um,
I'm
but
sure
I
that's
don't know.
true, which is why that's why I said I don't even really want to bring it up, because it's like I'm not really the one to criticize it. And but like it's like I don't know, like I don't know how accurate um all of these experiences are, and I don't know how much people are going to like see that character and be like that's me, because it's not me, because similar to Doug, also not a stripper. but but like the stuff that I'm hinting at
Glad we
is
can
more
clear
like,
that up.
no, but it's like, but you know what I mean? It's like the stuff that I'm talking about is more like I don't like it's like what I
Yeah.
was saying, where it's like it doesn't feel like one of his other movies feels. Like it's like it just doesn't like that's what I meant, is like, and I feel like part of it is like Mikey Madison like turning the character into something, as opposed to like him like taking somebody who
Yeah.
just like feels much more like taking like a non-professional actor who like feels closer to the characters that he's trying to represent, and then like turning that into a movie as opposed to the opposite. um
But
and
I
so
feel like
maybe
it's
that's why.
how he just works too. Like he is a writer, obviously, and he spends a lot of time creating these scripts for like fleshing out these ideas and into scripts. But I do feel like the he likes to work with non-professional actors too, is because he wants to form the film around them, you know.
Yeah,
And maybe Mikey is just a talented enough actor where she does elevate the material,
yeah,
but it's like it's not like she's not transform I don't know if she's like transforming it in the way that you might be alluding that she is, but she could be. I haven't read Anora, the script for the film,
Sure.
but
Yeah. I don't
and
know.
I also
That's just
wasn't there in
my
conversations between the director and the actor, or
yeah. I don't know. That's just my perspective, but I get it. I mean, he does like
um,
nobody's gonna deny that he's like super talented. Like it's like I know that like
people will.
sure. Okay. I meant nobody. I meant nobody
Some
here. I meant
people
nobody
might
here. Okay. I
say it.
didn't mean. I
The
didn't.
Twitter
You know.
people, they might say Sean Baker, he's not that good.
Yeah, but it's like I
Sean
don't know. Like it's
Baker,
like I know
he's a
I'm not gonna be like
conservative.
I'm not gonna be like he doesn't know
He
how to
lives in
write
TikTok.
though. Like
Lives in TikTok.
obviously, obviously he knows how to write. It's just I'd be curious to read the script for the movie and see. But the problem is that now I can't. There's no way
Right,
I'm
because
gonna.
you've
There's
seen
no
the
way I'm
movie.
gonna.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm gonna read the script for that movie and not be able to
Not
separate
hearing
Mikey
Mikey
Madison
in
from
your
the
head.
role. Yeah, like it's like obviously I'm gonna be thinking about that when I read the script. It's a very hard thing to do after the fact.
Kevin, did you watch Red Rocket?
I did, yes.
So Red Rocket is interesting because I think that in some ways I haven't seen Takeout. I haven't seen Takeout and I haven't seen what's it called?
Starlet?
Starlet, right?
Yes. Neither have I.
But
I have not seen either of those two.
so like removing those, Red Rocket is interesting because it is in some ways his least his least broad film. It's kind of like his most specific film in some
Yeah, it's
ways
like very specific. Yeah.
because of how because he's depicting the main character is like is Simon Rex playing like a predator, like a
Yeah,
sexual
he's kind of a
predator,
jerk. He's
a jerk. He's an
kind of
evil
not a
human
good
being. Yeah. It's why did I click on Sean Baker director and oh there's
Oh,
Red
are you talking
Rocket. I'm
about
just blind. Um, yeah, no, Simon Rex just like it's like and the whole movie is like about him like actually being a predator. And it's
yeah.
like and he's like the worst guy in the whole world and nothing bad happens to him the whole movie. And I remember I took my parents to go see Red Rocket because I didn't really know what it was about because listen, they liked the Florida Project a lot.
Right, yeah.
And then we leave and they were like so mad. They were so mad that I took them to see that movie. They were like never because the whole big chunk of the movie is Simon Rex grooming like this little girl, and they
Yeah.
were like,
Yeah.
never take me to see some shit like this again. And I'm like, okay, my bad. But it's like it's interesting that after Red Rocket, he pivots into the main character is conjuring so much empathy, and so is the sun blinding your face right now? It's like the
I'm
power.
melting. Look at
That's
it's like
crazy.
it's like reflecting. There's like a part of like my window. Like I have the shades down, but there's like a part of the window where the sun is like hitting it and he's like bouncing off like directly into my eyes. Like I'm like
Jesus.
white as a ghost right now.
So are you
Like
saying
mostly ghostly.
so are you saying that he pivoted to something like Anora
Where
because it's
the main character is very easy to root for, and
yeah.
you don't even have to put on your thinking cap really to justify rooting for Anora. It's just kind of like bad things happen to Anora and then you feel really bad about it by the end of the film.
Yeah.
And then he immediately wins the Palme d'Or and might win Best Picture and like 10 Oscars. Like I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, we could talk about the Oscar stuff now if you guys want, because they're like pretty
What a
much. I was
white
just
my
like,
palm is.
it's not so much like talking about Oscar stuff as I did just kind of include here talking about it as like, for starters, like, do we think this is the front runner right now? Is there
For what?
is there like for Best Picture? Like, is this the or just the Oscars in general? Is this like the movie?
No.
I mean, listen, it's like I guess technically I have such a hard
I
time
don't see
imagining it
how this
not
wins
being
Best
the
Picture.
brutalist, but like I guess technically it is.
It
Um
feels like a Mikey Madison Oscar like win, and like that's it.
Yeah, I struggle to see where
like
it would win in like technical categories other than
editing.
like editing and
I mean, that's a toss up. Bohemian Rhapsody won
I'm sure
editing.
it'll be up there in screenplay, which
Yeah,
is funny
I'm
because
sure
of
it
the
will
way
get
I just talked
nominated for a
about
bunch
it.
of things, but in terms of like winning, it's like Mikey Madison, and like if they campaign, maybe someone else for like supporting is nominated, but
Yeah.
like I don't see like it winning Best Picture or like
Right.
winning Best
But I
Director or
ask
anything.
because as of right now,
I
it's like
think
the
it's the
movie with the
front
best
runner.
odds, you know?
Yeah,
Like it's like
I think it's the
Which I feel like
I
is
would say it's the
crazy.
front runner, but
I think it because here's the thing. People like this, and this is another thing where I want to maybe crack your guys' eggs open about.
Yeah, crack my egg.
yeah,
Is that
get our eggs
people
cracking.
like this movie so much. It's like
Okay.
when I say it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's his most critically acclaimed film. I mean, it's like this is like the Sean Baker movie.
Yeah, they're like having the
Like
time
it.
of their life watching it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Which it
I
is. I mean, that's part of the thing
oh,
about
it
the
is a
movie that I wanted to
blast.
talk about is that it's like
yeah
a crowd play because the ending of the movie is obviously like sad, but everything like leading up to it is so funny. And not just that, but I think, and maybe again, it's because we were watching it with such a big crowd, but rewatching it, I was like, that's when I actually like got really swept up into the world of the movie where like you just totally like you're like going along, you know what I mean? Like the like it like you like really follow her and like it's like you're really like in there. Like it's like the like everything just kind of like makes sense. Like the trip to Vegas and like the excitement of it all and like how big everything feels. It's just like you're just like in there and you're like you're having like a
Yeah,
blast. Like you're like you just like you're going along for the ride. And before obviously everything like kind of gets
spirals.
worse. But yeah, but I like I think that that's just a feeling that most people watching it are going to have, where they're just going to get swept up in like
Yeah,
in the journey, and then like as a result, the ending is going to hit even harder when you get swept up in the journey. So I think like everybody's just going to come out of the movie pretty affected by it. So I'm not surprised it's like kind of universally
yeah. It's on the
enjoyable for
Letterbox
people.
top 250.
yeah.
Because
I
the average
guess it
person, I
is
mean,
because
it's
it's
so
so funny.
funny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
guess
so
that is
funny
like
that the
this
average
kind
person
of what it is.
is going to love it because of how
Yeah,
funny it is. I mean, once you get as long as you can make it to the scene where what's his name? Karagulian, right? Um once you make it to that scene where he like leaves the fucking baptism early
yeah.
because dude, any single person in the country watching that movie, when they get to that scene, they're gonna laugh so hard that they have already convinced themselves that the movie they're watching is great. Like that, like you, there's no way. Like it's like that shit is so funny. My theater had like everybody was fucking laughing during that part. Like it's so obviously like the kind of
Okay,
thing
I
that just
have
wins you
Yeah, it
over.
is really funny, but also The Hangover isn't like the best movie of all time, you know?
Yeah, but it's like what if, you know, but for the average person, it's like they're watching something that like is as funny as The Hangover to them, but then they're also like, this is art, you know?
Right.
And it's
how
No,
like
much
yeah,
twerking
yeah.
is too much twerking for the Oscars?
I
For a
think the
movie like
twerking
this,
is
it doesn't
very
matter.
minimal.
It
It
doesn't
doesn't
Yeah, I don't think
matter.
matter.
it
It
matters.
doesn't
Yeah.
Yeah.
matter. Okay. So like this is like a subject matter that the Oscars would touch,
Yeah.
I think,
I think
right?
I
Because
think
of
in a
the
post
prestige of Sean Baker,
We
it's
need to
like
remember that the Oscars are not the same as they were in 2009.
yeah, I think in a
Yeah.
especially now in a post like Poor Things being a big Oscar movie
true.
world,
Yeah,
they
that
are
makes sense
like they are
actually.
so comfortable with
Yeah,
movies that are super sex forward that I don't even
gotcha.
think it matters anymore. Because like
Such
Yeah,
a
Poor
no,
Things
Poor
is just
Things
like
is
sex
that's
scene
a
after
good
sex
yeah,
scene after
that's
sex scene. So
that's a
it's like
good
they don't even
example.
the stuff in
Yeah,
Anora is not gonna matter to them anymore, I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
think.
Okay.
and such a
Um,
big wing of the Academy are actors as well.
yeah,
And
and
this
it's
is
an
That
this is
actor
very
movie.
this is an
Yeah.
actor movie for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, they I mean, they love actor
That's
movies
true.
at the
That's true.
Oscars. That's like that's a big part of the appeal is actor
For yeah,
movies.
it's just for I guess for me, it doesn't seem as grand, but I'm like thinking just back at it, like it's like like Coda, one.
No, yeah, that's the
It's
thing.
like
This is part of my thing
Yeah.
too, where it's like we're talking about like, oh, this is probably like the lead for Best Picture, and the Oscars don't matter, but it's like, yeah, I hear that, and my brain is like, that's so crazy because I just watched The Brutalist, and it's like
that
that is
it's like
such
it
an
just like
like,
it doesn't seem as like a best picture kind of grandness,
yeah,
but then you just think of like other things that have won. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I get.
But there's like
Sure.
that's the thing is like a lot of it is narrative and obviously they love something like Coda, which is like a feel good type of thing, which is why
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I think some of the movie's biggest competition is Amelia Perez. Because that is a movie that like
Hate
a
to
lot
see
of
that.
people are going to like
Let me put
similarly, I
5 on
think
Amelia
like
Perez actually.
pat themselves on the back about and be like, we should reward this because it's, you know. X,
Because
Y, and
Selena
Z.
Gomez.
Not so much because of Selena Gomez, although I guess I'm
Because
sure
of
they will
Zoe
probably do that
Because
Saldana.
too.
Selena Gomez, she voted.
No, I mean just because of what the movie is about.
Who's the lead? Who's the lead actress in Amelia
Uh,
Perez?
I am gonna. I fumbled on having her name
You
Because
prepared.
fumbled.
all of the marketing is Zoe Saldana.
Carla Sofia Gascon is the lead.
Okay, okay, okay,
And
okay.
she is also currently Mikey Madison's biggest competition for Best Actress.
No, she's
Although
not.
that is what the people are saying, but I think that will
I've
change
never heard of
pretty
the
soon.
people say that.
No, that's because you literally do not pay attention to Oscars stuff at all.
No one
You
was
you
tweeting about
avoid
that.
it like the plague.
I don't
I
avoid
don't.
it.
You can't be like, I've never heard people saying that. Doug knows that I'm right. Doug knows that this is a conversation
Doug, have
that
you
is
heard
happening.
people say what's her name again?
Carla Sofia Gascon
Have
is
you
Yeah,
heard people
the
say
people. I mean,
narrative. She has the strongest narrative aside from Mikey Madison.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Doug couldn't even name 3 women earlier.
Okay.
What?
No, I mean
No, I said
no,
I
but
said Kate Blanchett in Borderlands.
What the
I
fuck,
said
man?
I said Jennifer Lopez in Atlas. I said
This guy. I guess
I said
Anyway.
Kaylee Spaney in Civil War.
Civil War.
Yeah.
No,
Dakota
I mean the
Fanning
other
in The Watchers.
the
Megan
other
Fox
follow-up.
in Subservience.
Jesus Christ. The other Oscar follow-up I had, which I guess is kind of what we already touched on, which is like, if not the best picture frontrunner or whatever, then like what categories do we think it has the strongest case in? And I guess we all kind of agree that it's probably Mikey Madison.
Mikey Madison's
I
gonna win
mean,
the Oscar.
is there a world in which one of these supporting actors gets nominated?
Yeah.
With Push, yeah, I think what's his name? Yura.
Yeah.
You
Little
really
bald guy.
you think it would be him and not Mark
Yeah.
Edelstein?
I do
Yeah,
think it would be
I
him,
think
yeah.
he's got like the more like Oscar performance. While Mark is just kind of having fun.
Yeah.
He's just kind of like doing fun stuff, and like Yura has like that car sequence, or like even like there's some other like you can put that on the fucking big screen. Like this is his Oscar moment.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
this movie won the Palme d'Or. That's so crazy. That's so
Yeah.
crazy.
You think undeservedly so is what you're saying?
What else was he? What else was at Cannes, bro? I didn't go to Cannes. I don't know.
That
I
is
just think it's
true.
crazy. I know
Doug is
it's like
not a
just
stripper, and he did not go to Cannes.
just compared to
Yeah.
his last films, that's where I'm like, that's so crazy. You
No,
know?
I get it. I don't know. I mean, this is like I think one of my favorite movies of his, if not my favorite. But it's like weird because I also am conflicted about things. But I think that universal appeal also applies to me. Like it's just like I did laugh so hard, and I do think most of it were. I'm still like iffy about the ending, and like I want to like pick that apart a little bit, but not on the pod, but just like in my head. But it is just such a like good watch from start to finish. Like you
I
really
don't know.
do just kind of go on the journey. I
No,
wonder
yeah, it's great. It's a
I
great. It's
wonder
great.
how you guys feel about like how would you even describe this is like a there's probably a word for this, but I'm being dumb right now. But like like this kind of movie where it's like character goes on like an adventure where like worse and worse thing happens like over and over and it just like goes on and on and on. Like that kind of movie, is that like usually appealing to you guys? Like this is like something similar to
The
Blitz, which
Scorsese.
I saw at the film festival. Like Blitz is a movie like that where the main kid in the movie is just like bad thing happening to him one after the other and you think the movie's going to end and then it just like keeps going and getting worse and worse and worse until we finally get to the ending. And I didn't like it there, but I do like it here. I just think it's like worth talking about because I think that's like kind of one of the roadblocks for a lot of people is movies like that, like Anora. They watch it and then it just like
No, I
ends and
like
it
that.
ends and
It's
ends
the
and ends,
after
and so they
hours.
get
Yeah, I
yes, like
think
after hours, yeah.
Yeah.
I think like constantly just like having like interesting characters and just putting them in like different situations where they have to kind of like navigate through. I think that's fun.
Yeah. No, I agree. I was just curious because I feel like that's like a roadblock for the average. You know what I mean? Where it's like they think the movie's going to end and then there's like another 30 minutes where it keeps ending over and over again. I wonder if that turns people off.
No. I mean, I'm sure it
Turns
does.
people
Like,
on.
it doesn't turn me off or on.
Yeah.
I'm like
Oh.
neutral.
Okay. Good to know. Are there specific scenes in Anora that you guys would want to talk about? Because we didn't talk a ton about like things that happen in the movie. If we don't have to talk in detail, but just things you want to highlight, like moments that you really enjoyed. Because I guess I
It
have
is
a few
it is like a
things.
really a feel good movie. There was a cheer moment in our theater when Anora talked back, little talk back to the mom. When the mom was like, "You're a
Yes,
whore," and she's like,
right.
"Your son
Your son
was
is
so
pathetic,
We
and
did the
yeah."
accent.
yeah.
Yo, what? No.
No, that
Yeah, well, your son. No,
okay.
it's like how does she talking to Nora? It's like something like that, right? It's like I'm like
Fuck.
a fraud marriage.
Okay, that was better actually.
It was
Yeah.
better.
That was much better actually than before. I don't know
That's
Um,
that's a good scene. I
where
do.
you were going
You
earlier.
bring
Yeah,
that up
that's a
though. I
great
do
scene.
like the whole like where she is like tied and
mhm.
up. They like tie her up and she's like fighting back and
Yeah,
like
that stuff
they're
is
trying
so
to like
and then
they're trying to like figure out the
Bro, that's so
situation.
funny. It's so funny because Yvonne just doesn't know what to do. Or is it Ivan? Like he just
No,
doesn't know what to do.
you
Yvonne.
mean you
Well,
mean Igor?
Yvonne runs away.
Yeah,
Igor. Yeah, Igor.
Yvonne
Igor.
runs away.
Yeah,
Igor is the
Yvonne
Yeah,
runs
Igor.
away, and
yeah.
then Igor's like she's sitting
He
on
just
her,
like
and
has to tie her up, and then when Karen Karagulian's character comes in, and he's like, "What the fuck happened in here?"
no, it's so good.
That part's so fucking funny, and he's like, he's like, they're that like he tells her he's like untie her, and they're like, "You're gonna regret it." They're like, you don't want to do
Yeah,
that."
no,
And they keep telling him it's so fucking
no,
silly.
they.
That
I
part's
mean, they.
funny as fuck.
It's like a good chunk of the script, but also like they play off each other so well. I mean, like
Yeah.
we said, like it's an actor movie, and they they do their part for sure. That's it.
Also,
That's a great
I
sequence.
would hate to not mention what another one of like what I think is the funniest scenes in the movie, which is when they go to the courthouse in New York, and like Karen Killian's in the like he's standing there and he keeps going up and like trying to talk, and the judge is like telling him that you can't talk, and then they fucking come to the revelation that they got the what is it, their lawyer or whatever just like overhears them say that they got married in Vegas, and he does like a double take, and he's like,
Yeah,
they got married in Vegas, and he's like, you can't do this in New York. We have to go to Vegas.
yeah. No, that's great. That's just it's like great like setup and payoff of
Yeah.
in there.
The whole ending of the movie, like that whole, it just gets so funny as it goes. Like that whole kind of section of the movie where they're wrapping it up. But it's man, I really like that stuff. And I think specifically, I kind of just really like the first. I don't know. I guess you would call it the first hour, 45 minutes, like when it's
Yeah, I
before
mean,
that, like the bad stuff starts to happen.
it's such a
It's such a like
fun
joy.
movie. It's
Like
so fun. Like it's just like kind of Mikey Madison like having the time of or like Mikey Madison's character Annie is having like the time of her life and she's like
yeah,
doing anything she wants and like it's like a high. You're just like on this high. And I think that's so much fun. It turns into a different movie, obviously, like when shit hits the fan. And like that's a really fun movie as well. But there
When
is that
what
like
hits the fan?
with the shit and they kind of all over the walls and
yeah,
but no, I think it's just like it's very there's a high there, and then
Mhm.
it becomes a different movie. But there was just such
yeah.
something so fun about like the kind of this guy's got money, and we're just kind of like this like you through these like montage sequences in like Vegas, and
Yeah. No,
you know
specifically,
Ivy Wolf's there.
I think the high is at its like peak. Like the moment where I was really transported is like right after they get married and they're in like the thing and they're just like yelling and she's like, "That's my husband," and like she's like
Yes, oh,
telling all the
it's
people. I'm like, dude, I'm like on another planet when that
We
scene is
got
happening.
married.
Yeah, I'm like that shit is so, dude. I was like, I just felt it like so
yeah.
strongly, and then it obviously like all goes downhill
Mhm.
after that. And we haven't really talked about the ending, but I feel like it's one of those things where, like I said earlier, because the movie
Yeah, I don't
has
know.
this weird release, I don't know if we want to
I
like
don't know. We don't really have to go too
completely
specific.
say
I
exactly
think
what
it's a
the
good
last
ending.
scene
I
in
think
the
it's a good
movie
ending
is.
for sure.
The ending is super interesting. It's obviously really fucked up and kind of sad how like that it's like it, that is I think that this is where maybe criticisms of how Sean Baker views the world become a little bit
Yes.
more relevant to me. But I think that the ending is very effective because it says a lot about our specific character more so than I think maybe people broadly, but even I think it's appropriate to say this about people broadly about how she, without even saying what the ending is, there comes to a moment where Anora kind of sees that the primary value that she brings to other people's life is sex, and it is very sad and it
Yeah.
is very upsetting. Because then
Yeah.
she, you know,
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, kind of similar to what you're saying. I think regardless of how you pick it apart, it is like very emotionally effective. Like it's like you're just gonna be sad watching it. Um and it just really hurts to see kind of regardless of how you talk about the Sean Baker of it all and like what the worldview really is. It's just like tough to watch. It's yeah. And I thought more so the second time around. I was just like, man, I was just really bummed at the end of it.
because I think that maybe you could. I don't know. It is. The more that I think about it, it's like it is a little the. You could make an argument that this movie that Sean Baker maybe has some criticisms for the lifestyle of the sex worker that is coming through in the ending of this film, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I see what you're hinting at,
But
and I
I don't
think
know.
instead of diving deeper, perhaps we end our talk about Anora there.
Okay.
No, I mean, unless you guys have anything else you want to say about the movie, I don't know if there's anything that we forgot to touch on. I think without getting into like too many specific plot details, obviously, because like
Yeah.
I said, it's like this is when we're releasing the Anora episode. You know, hopefully people could see it. If not, hopefully you could see it soon. Hopefully we didn't ruin the whole movie for you if you haven't watched it yet. But it is a great time. I think that's the one thing we all agree on is that it's a very fun movie to watch, and hopefully everybody gets to experience that. And we'll be talking about it a lot more moving forward as we get to the end of the year pods, and of course when we get to the award season pods. So this will not be the last time we
Yeah,
mention it. So
which
perhaps you know,
part. I mean, part of it. I just thinking of Anora. I mean, part of it is the festival, but I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's like there's been a crazy amount of good movies this year.
yeah,
So and this is just one of them, but just like all the stuff, festival included, that we've been seeing recently is just kind of been a really special.
yeah,
I think in terms of like thinking back in the past few years, it's been like this year specifically, maybe not like the movie, the highs of the highs, maybe, but like the amount of just like really great movies
yeah.
has been a lot for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's how it's weird. We'll talk about it more at the end of the year. But I think that's how it would stack up for me. Where it's like I don't know where my favorite movie, like my very favorite movies of this year, stack up against my very favorite movies of the past few years.
Mhm.
But I think that there is a long list at the top for this year. Like it's much
It's
longer
incredible.
than
It's
it's
ridiculous.
much longer than I would have expected,
Yeah.
especially after the festival. But yeah, we could finish talking about Anora there because we've got a ton of news to cover. But first, as always, I want to remind everybody to share some feedback. If you liked listening to us talk about Anora, you can like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. You could rate the episode on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and you could follow us on all of the platforms in the episode description.
You can comment
Um,
on Spotify too now.
yeah, well, always actually, you could always
Well, but
comment,
now
you
the
know.
comments are
But
public. It used
oh,
to be
really?
like the
I
comments
didn't
used to just like
even
send us a
see that.
message. Now Spotify, all
Which is a little
comments
weird and personal.
are public.
Yeah, I didn't even see that. Is that really true? I don't think
Yep.
maybe my
Yeah,
Spotify hasn't updated on my phone or something. I feel like I have not seen
go to
that.
like a
Maybe
popular
maybe the
podcast and
update isn't
then
Oh, I
available in
can
the
see
new
them. Wow,
version.
wait a
yeah,
second. Oh
yeah, yeah,
shit,
yeah,
I haven't even seen that. That's awesome.
yeah.
Wait, yeah, everybody should comment. Everybody, if you're listening on Spotify or if you're listening on YouTube, switch over to Spotify really quick. Leave a comment and blow up
And
that
come
comment
back.
section. I want to see I want to see
Yeah,
comments on our episodes on Spotify. That's fun. I didn't know you could do that.
yeah. Well, I almost
Okay.
said something. Okay. Yep.
What?
Nothing. Keep going. News.
No, no, no. Well, no, you can't almost say it. Just say it.
No, I can't.
Just say
Okay.
it.
No, it's be weird about it.
Well,
We're gonna wait.
we can
We'll wait.
wait.
Wait,
Yeah.
we're gonna wait. We're gonna
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah.
It's like when your teacher like gets mad at you in class and it's like you have to tell us. It's like we're not gonna keep going with the lesson until you
Yeah.
say what you were,
Little
you know,
Jimmy
it's
is
like
not gonna learn what 3 plus 3 is until you fucking
yeah.
cough it up, pal.
No, it's like no, we can move on to the news. I don't want to embarrass Doug. Or were
Embarrass.
you gonna embarrass one of us?
I was just gonna say something that I can't say on the internet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Really bad episode for Doug this week. I mean,
Yeah, my bad.
lot of
Wait,
controversial
what has he
things to
done?
say. I don't know actually.
This is really, he
Just
does
been
that shit
Doug.
all the time. It's
Just
just
been Doug.
annoying.
Yeah. I don't know.
My
A couple weeks ago,
bad.
he had a
Oh
pretty
well, no,
bad
because I mean,
example
he said the
episode.
thing about how he hates Mikey Madison and thinks that she's bad in the
Oh.
movie. Is the
Oh,
I
I
mean,
didn't say that at all.
most common
yeah.
thing to Doug to do.
No, no, no.
Um,
I think is that I think that Natalie Emmanuel in Megalopolis is a little higher in my
You're right.
ranking.
Yes. I kind of
Um,
assumed that was the thing holding you back, and I'm glad that you said it out loud so that people could know and get upset about it.
Hey,
But
Toni Collette is in juror number 2 as well. Who knows?
that's a supporting performance, not even the
She
same
is
category.
in the movie.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we'll just whatever stuff you want to talk about more, you can. There's a lot here, so let's just
It's
get
news time.
just
with
get through all of it because this
K-Mix.
might be a long one. Okay. Adam Driver, Jeremy Strong, and Anne Hathaway to star in
Driver.
James Gray's next film, Paper Tiger, described as a tense and gritty story about two brothers pursuing the American dream only to become entangled in a scheme that turns out too good to be true.
Adam Driver's collecting these dudes like Infinity Stones.
Driver.
Yeah. Well, James Gray is a filmmaker that lots of people have a ton of respect for, and specifically
well accomplished guy.
specifically
That's
like
why Adam Driver's working with him.
yeah, and specifically actors, but also Jeremy Strong and Anne Hathaway were both in his last movie. So they're coming back for their next James Gray.
Armageddon Time Part
Yeah,
2.
which I saw. Yeah.
I should finish Armageddon Time.
Yeah,
I
I'll be
wanna
honest.
watch,
I wasn't a big fan, but maybe I was being I don't know. Maybe I just
I
didn't
really
understand the
didn't
James
like
Gray.
the first 20 minutes of the movie when I watched
Yeah,
it.
I really was not a fan, but I don't think I understood the James
That
Gray of
looks
it
like
all.
his
And
most
then
uninteresting one.
yeah, but then I
Least
watched
interesting
Two
one.
Lovers, and I was like, oh, this guy.
Well, I want to watch
This guy could cook
that
a little.
one.
I want to watch
because
Two
yeah.
Lovers as well.
Two Lovers is kind of based off White Knights, which is
Interesting.
White Knights is was
Dostoevsky.
adapted. It was
Yeah.
which became Four Nights of a Dreamer. So
Yeah.
I want to watch Two Lovers, and I want to watch
People say the Lost City of Z is
that's
kind of peak.
that one with Rob and Tom Holland and those guys and
They're saying this is the good Tom Holland movie.
the one
Yeah.
good one. And then The Yards, some of like the earlier stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do want to watch Beyond
yes,
the
like
Gates
it's
as
from
well.
his filmography is not that big.
Yeah, no, I do want to watch some of these because I think I'd really like a number of them more than Armageddon Time. And we've all seen Ad Astra, right?
No,
Nope.
no, pal. No,
Oh, wow.
no, pal.
Oh, I was under.
Sorry,
the
wasn't
impression
around in 2019.
that- Okay, right. Anyway, the point is like good director or good enough director for
this
Adam
isn't
Driver
like
to be working
this
with.
isn't Adam Driver working in like a
Yeah,
casting
and Jeremy
or-
Strong and Anne
It's just
Hathaway.
another.
Admittedly, even though I didn't like Armageddon Time that much,
Armageddon that time when you watched it.
they were
Jeremy
both
Strong from
they
The
were both
Happening.
good in it. Yeah, and Jeremy Strong's kind of having a moment. He's kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
Anne Hathaway's always the moment.
what was it?
I've had enough.
I said Anne Hathaway's always the moment.
Oh yeah, I mean, duh. Yeah. No, this seems like it could
Jeremy
be good.
Strong. I don't
The
know.
description is very vague. It's just like American Dream movie. It's like, yeah, that's like a lot of movies.
Yeah, it's
but,
pretty. That's the thing. It's pretty like okay, whatever. In terms of description, really the pull is Driver for me.
Yeah, of course.
When you see Adam Driver new movie, it's like you gotta,
I hope
gotta put that
Jeremy
on your
Strong
list.
has like a scheduling conflict or something.
I
Do you not like him?
I hope Jeremy Strong drops out of the movie and then Adam Driver has to play both characters.
Wait, do you not like Jeremy Strong? Have you even seen Jeremy Strong?
I like Jeremy Strong. I like
I don't-
Succession.
I
like
don't
Succession.
know, man.
Have you seen a
Yeah.
Jeremy Strong performance before, ever in your life? Can you name
Let me
one?
see. Let me see.
The answer is no. He just saw that interview where Jeremy Strong said dramaturgically. Dramaturgically.
Dramaturgically?
Yeah.
No, it's like I don't like I've seen like clips of him act.
He's a very good actor.
He's a very committed actor.
yeah,
I'm sure
he's-
he can
he's
act.
a
I
very good
don't really think I want to see his face on the screen.
Okay, that's weird.
think he has, like, a-
You don't have to say that, bro.
He has
That's
like a
rude.
weird vibe. He has a
That's
vibe that
rude.
like I don't think
That's
is,
like part of his appeal is his weird
no,
vibe.
yeah, exactly. And I don't think it's like is like an interesting appeal, and I don't think cinema is like about that.
Okay.
Did you just say cinema is not about weird vibes?
You
No, but
sound like somebody who
specifically-
would really get along with Jeremy Strong, by the way. I feel
Specifically
like you
Jeremy-
guys I feel like
the
you guys
only,
would
the
have a
only
good
movie I
hang.
have seen Jeremy Strong is The Happening, but I have seen clips of him on Twitter. I do like him in The Happening, but I think he's gotten old and
He's in
weird.
one scene.
Exactly.
He's good
Okay.
in that one scene.
He's no, he's good, but it's like that's crazy that that's the one time he's seen him act is in a single scene in a movie.
Yeah,
But he's
we
too
both,
gray
me and Kevin
now.
watched him in several seasons of
He's too
television as like the
gray to
main
be a
character.
lead. He's like
Oh,
a
he's
weird
the
old,
lead in one of the greatest shows ever made.
exactly, television. He's like a weird old man for TV. I
Oh,
don't
Jesus
know if that's
Christ.
like
Okay.
movie to me.
Okay, next piece of news, Kevin.
Next
If
piece
I
of
saw
news,
him on the street, I wouldn't believe he's a real man. Like, I
a
think he has like
Days
a
of
weird like
Thunder
wooden doll
sequel is in
thing
the
to him.
works with Tom Cruise and talks to return.
Okay, how much news did you put from this one article? Because I read this whole article.
I went through the article and I just put this headline because I didn't really know what to include. But why is there stuff you want to mention?
Yeah, this article also mentions that the reported budget for the new Mission Impossible movie is $400 million.
Yes. Okay. That I did not include in the news because I feel like we don't normally talk about something like that, but I guess that's worth mentioning.
It's just
I guess
that's
if wants to bring it up.
I do just want to. That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
And
yeah.
the rumor. Okay, so here's the thing.
Verbinski
There's no source cited in the Hollywood Reporter article, so it could just be totally false.
Yes.
But the rumor, if that is true, I guess like the rumor for why that budget would have gotten so high is because they had to stop filming for the strikes. And maybe they continue to pay the cast and crew during the strikes.
Yeah,
like they've started filming this one.
It's done.
No. Oh,
it's done filming. It's the trailer's coming out this month.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they filmed it and it went up to $400 million.
Yeah.
It was like it started at 400.
No. They filmed it like for 3 years, and part of the production went on during this the Hollywood strikes.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
That's probably. I mean, that's a Tom Cruise thing to do.
Yeah. To continue to pay people when they're not working.
Yeah,
he's the goat for that.
He likes paying people that they deserve pay.
So this mentioned the Days of Thunder. You get the headline, the Days of Thunder thing. It's interesting because it's another Tony Scott kind of like trying to do like a Top Gun Maverick thing with a different Tony Scott movie.
With a different movie, although his
not as iconic as Top Gun.
Yeah, it didn't make as much money, but I wonder if they just think that it doesn't matter because of the Top Gun Maverick of it.
It doesn't. It's Tom Cruise.
No, I know. But I'm saying but I mean from their perspective, it was like it made a little bit like Top Gun was enough of a hit where it like made enough sense for them to make a legacy sequel. But now this feels like it's more just like Tom Cruise.
It can be less of a legacy sequel and just like kind of like a movie with Tom Cruise.
If they bring back Nicole Kidman and we get a movie with Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise in it together in 2026,
not happening.
It's gonna make.
But the thing is that this is also the article mentions. The article mentions that like the likely director for something like this would be Joseph Kosinski because he did Top Gun Maverick. Except his next movie is the F1 movie.
It's the F1 movie.
Yeah, right,
so is he going to make back-to-back racing movies? Because Days of Thunder is also a racing movie.
I would hope that he wouldn't. I kind of just hope this Days of Thunder thing doesn't happen.
Yeah. Which it seems difficult for it to happen because Mission Impossible just finished. They're talking about another Top Gun movie. Yeah, but they're talking about another Top Gun movie, and then he's making the what's his name's movie?
Doug Liman space movie.
No.
Oh, fuck that shit.
The Birdman guy.
Oh my god, yeah, the Inarritu film.
He's doing
Inarritu movie. Yeah, so it's like
Judy.
And sure, yeah. So it's
that's
like
that's what the Inarritu film
called. Oh, okay. I didn't know that's what it was called.
Yeah.
So that's like I don't know. Judy. Like when would they make this?
So they're here's the timeline. Here's what's happening right now. They're in conversations for maybe doing the Days of Thunder thing. Then they're developing the script for the Top Gun Maverick sequel, which is quote unquote top priority for Cruise and Paramount. Then he is in talks to develop the Doug Liman space movie, and they're shooting the Inarritu film like next month, like soon.
Okay, so Days of Thunder would come at the end.
It will be shooting. It begins in November.
Okay,
so that is now.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
This month.
Yeah. I don't know. He's a busy guy. He never stops working. He's
Yeah, that's
always
true.
the thing about Mission Impossible is like when there's a Mission Impossible movie getting shot, that's just what he does every single day is work on Mission
Yeah.
Impossible.
Yeah, that's true. But not as much excitement for a Days of Thunder movie. Have you guys seen Days of Thunder?
Yeah, I watched Days of Thunder at my friend's house. So my friend, she had Days of Thunder on VHS. Like I think it was like our parents' copy, and she had like this tiny CRTV with a VHS player, and we watched Days of Thunder on that. It was a couple years ago, so I have
Yeah,
seen it on like a
never seen
7-inch
it.
CRTV. It's fun. It's a Tony Scott movie.
Yeah, no, I'm sure I'd like
I've
it.
seen more of the later Scots than the earlier ones, so I haven't seen
Yeah.
that one.
It's like Top Gun Maverick with cars. I mean, not Top. It's like Top Gun with cars. Sorry.
Yeah.
Next piece of news. Lupita Nyong'o, John Mulaney, and Jared Leto will star in Kemp Powers' Lunatic Heist, inspired by the true story of the American government's plot to steal a Soviet spacecraft during a 1959 expedition in Mexico City. I only included this because I know Owen really likes
Ridiculous
John
movie.
Mulaney.
Yeah. Well, that's my thing.
Uh,
I've been really like pushing like put this guy in like a real movie, and not even like a big movie, like a great movie. I'm not even that far yet. Like I don't even. That's a future worry. I just like
Yeah.
put this guy in a movie where he is like a real person, not like an animated chipmunk. Like put this guy in a movie that's not animated, or like he's like a like a robot or something. Like I want to see him like a flesh thing.
This is going to be animated though, right?
Is it?
It's the guy that directed the Spider-Verse movies.
Fuck.
No, well, he doesn't direct them. He
directed Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, and he's directing Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Oh, we're fucked.
But those movies have a million directors, but
yes,
yeah.
but he's mostly a screenwriter. He did the script for Soul and for One Night in Miami. But One Night in Miami is Regina King directing, and Soul is
One Night in Miami not animated, notably not animated.
Yeah, One Night in Miami not
Kevin, what's the guy's name?
He wrote it. So
interesting, but he's a director on these Spider-Verse movies, but he's not a writer on them.
Yeah, strange. I don't really know what his deal is, but
yeah, so this Lunatic Heist movie, is it animated is the question.
Yeah, I didn't see that mentioned. I feel like that would have been mentioned.
He's an American playwright.
No, we know who he is. We just don't...
Okay, so but One Night in Miami is the play. It's the play that he wrote, not the
right.
Oh, so it's gonna be a different director. Okay. Well, then that's hopeful. Then maybe that would mean
he's directing the Lunatic Heist. He's writing and directing Lunatic Heist. He directed Spider-Verse movies. He did not write them. He wrote the play called One Night in Miami that then got adapted into a movie.
Yeah. Okay, I thought he was saying that this movie is a play that he wrote.
No.
I know about One Night in Miami. I've seen One Night in Miami.
Okay.
I got confused.
Yeah, his only credits as like a director in terms of movies are those Spider-Verse movies.
Yeah,
which is like make you assume that it's an animated movie.
Exactly.
But guys can do whatever they want.
True. This cast, now looking at this cast, knowing that he directed animated movies, I'm like, these are kind of voice actors. It's like these are kind of voice actors.
So John Mulaney would be. Yeah.
He would be. Jared Leto.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, no, it's probably animated. You're probably onto something.
But this is crazy because this doesn't is this like Lunatic Heist animated?
I mean, when I looked up the article, I don't remember the article saying that it would be an animated movie.
It's a true life story set during the Cold War.
Right.
Yes.
It's like, is that animated? Like, do you animate that?
You could.
I guess you can.
Yeah, I mean, you could animate anything. Yeah, but I swear this article does not say anything about it being animated, and I feel like that would be a big thing to mention.
I feel like it would be, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like it's very confusing that they wouldn't even say the word
because he wrote. But I feel like the fact that it's not animated, you kind of have to just like assume, like that it's like live action until like you hear otherwise.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I just only threw that out because as a director, it's the Spider-Verse movies, and these three guys are kind of voice actors. You know, they're actors, but they also no, they're actors, but like it's like
it makes sense to get
like
Mulaney to do voice acting.
Lupita Nyong'o's last film was an animated film where she was a voice actor.
Well, what
Look at
about
this
didn't the
Jared
Quiet
Leto
Place movie
voice
just come out
act.
this year?
What?
Didn't didn't the Quiet Place movie she was in just come out this
The
year?
Wild Robot came out last month.
Oh, true. I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good point.
Yeah, but that's
Like I don't know, like I don't know.
yeah,
Like...
no, it's something to watch. That has been my thing. I think Mulaney would be fun in like a real human role, and it's just been yet to. I know he was in the Pete Davidson TV show as like kind of himself.
That show is
So
funny. I watched that
that's
show.
like not like the same.
Now, what if it's a movie where John Mulaney plays himself, but it's set in the Cold War?
What the fuck? It's just John Mulaney as like fully like the same.
Like
age
everybody
he
else is
now.
playing Cold War
just-
characters, but John Mulaney is just himself.
It's just John Mulaney and everyone else is a Muppet, and it's the Cold War.
And like
It's-
also the
What if-
other thing,
what if
the fact that John Mulaney is in it really does make me feel, because it's like you click on John Mulaney on Letterboxd and it's
No, that's
just
what I'm
it's-
saying.
it's
Yeah,
just
it's very
animated
animated.
movies
That's what
with
I'm saying.
stand-up specials.
That's why I've been pushing for him to be like in a real movie, and that's what I was like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
excited for this because he's like, I want him to be acting, not voice acting.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that it is a Spider-Verse guy
Yeah.
does make
Yeah.
it. But also, it's just
it's
Cold
adding
War-
up.
I don't know. Cold
I don't
War
know.
animation it's throwing me a
What if
little
it's a
loop
kids
there.
film? What if it's a kids
A
film?
kids film about the Cold War.
Yeah.
It's a true story.
Yeah.
They do
It-
that. Do they do
Sure, they can do whatever the fuck they want, bro. Anyway,
Yeah,
this is
I don't know.
interesting. This is something to look
Um,
out for. This is
we
interesting.
will-
This is
will
like
circle
this is like
this.
8th in terms of priority on the list of news. So let's keep moving because there's a lot of stuff here. Tom Holland and Austin Butler will officially star as drug smuggling brothers in American Speed. I'm gonna be honest, when you
Is this a
guys find
Netflix movie?
out who is connected to this movie, you are not going to like
Oh,
this
give me
piece
the
of
I'm
names,
already
give me the
just like
names.
I'm already not
Um,
excited for it.
Well, so I don't know if he's just the director or if he's writing the script. I think he's just writing the script. I don't know if they have a director attached yet, but the guy writing it has written one movie before, and it's that movie Alpha with the kid and like the wolf or whatever, like that like wild kid who like
What the fuck is
raised
this
by
Alpha?
wolves.
What is this?
Kevin, I have never seen or heard of this movie. in my
What
life.
is this?
You
movie?
really you don't remember when this movie came out?
No.
No,
Oh,
I've
Um,
never heard of this in my life.
well,
This
well,
is
it's a
not real.
thing.
Why is there
and-
not a director attached to this movie?
Yeah, I don't know, but the guy who wrote that movie Alpha is writing the script for this movie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's kind of all we know, I think.
What if
As
it
of
gets
right
Albert
now-
This movie's
Hughes
not
back?
even real. This movie's not real. It's got producers and a writer. That's not a real movie.
Yeah, it's like, well,
It's
once
got
you
Tom
cast
Holland
it,
and Austin Butler.
yeah, when you cast it, the movie starts being a little real.
But
But
who casts it?
And
The
maybe
producers?
True story.
casting director,
They don't
no
even got one of
producer,
those.
no, it's the producers cast it. You're right.
Yeah.
Casting director casts like smaller.
This is
roles.
like a movie
Yeah.
built in a lab.
Yeah,
IVF,
Yeah,
baby.
it's giving a bit of a Apple TV Plus movie.
Yes, it is giving a little bit of
Oh,
Apple. And you know what? It's an
yes.
Amazon movie. It's an Amazon movie.
It's giving Red Notice. It's giving all those Gal Gadot movies. It's giving I don't know.
Gal Gadot.
Yeah. Well, this it comes among all the positive
comes
Tom
with
Holland
it.
news we just had.
Hey, Tom
we
Holland,
get
you gotta
it
make
with
a
the-
buck somehow.
Yeah. Anyway, next piece of news. Dev Patel to star in Tarsem Singh's The Journeyman. It tells the story of a struggling pro tennis player who is lured into an illegal
not
match
tennis.
fixing ring to support his family and finds himself trapped in a ruthless world of corruption and violence he may never escape. Have you guys seen a Tarsem Singh movie?
I don't think so. Wait. Maybe,
I've never
actually.
seen one, but obviously people talk about
The
the
Fall.
fall.
Yeah,
often.
people
Yes,
talk about The
it's
Fall a lot.
People say it's a very good movie.
Wait, he dropped the
Um,
Sing.
Yeah, it's just Tarsem.
Oh, well, this thing said Tarsem.
No, I know
Singh.
on Letterboxd,
Um,
just one name. Like he's
On Google, it
Madonna.
also says Tarsem Singh, but I don't know if
well. Okay, so I have seen Immortals, the Henry
anyway.
Cavill movie, but that's like one of his. I don't know. That's the only one. Oh, I think I've seen Mirror too.
Well, Tarsem
Oh,
Singh is an interesting guy because the only movie people like that he made is The Fall.
Exactly. That's why I've seen the movies
Um,
that no one likes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
he
now
made a
he's
movie with
directing Dev
Ryan
Patel in a
Reynolds.
movie that sounds a lot like Dev Patel's movie that just came out.
Yeah, well, that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. It says that like
You know.
Challengers means Monkey Man.
Yeah, it's the plot is very Monkey Man. I mean, it's like he gets it. It's a legal match fixing ring, and then he gets trapped in a world of corruption and violence that he has to escape. It sounds a
Oh,
lot like
right.
the movie.
The writers don't have any credits on
Well,
writing that.
I'm on IMDb right now looking at these writers.
Yeah. Do they write TV or are they just like first time?
Did they just
Yeah,
find
they wrote on
yeah.
TV. They wrote TV stuff. But
What
it's like
TV?
it's nothing. It's such small
It's like
stuff.
fake TV. It's
Yeah,
like
it's like fake TV. Okay, that's right. Who's this other guy? Alexis. Oh, right.
they're
This is
like
a couple.
yes.
Who are these people?
TV writers apparently.
They probably
No,
live
but like
right
they
next
these
door to
aren't
you. You
real
wouldn't
TV.
even
This
you
isn't
wouldn't
real
you
stuff
wouldn't
though.
know them if you saw them in the street, man.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't know most
No,
writers if you saw them on the street. To be fair, I don't think you're just walking around recognizing writers. But
no, these are sorry, these writers only have acting credits. They don't have they don't have
Oh,
writing credits. I think these are who are these tennis players? I'm just
oh,
confused. I don't
okay.
know.
Anyway,
I don't know.
would you guys be excited for this? Is there any excitement, or is
Yeah,
this
I like Dev Patel's next project after Monkey Man is interesting.
yeah?
Yeah.
No, I feel the same way. I mean, I think the thing was that like he talked so much about like struggling to find roles for himself, and that's why Monkey Man became a thing. So it's like cool that he immediately follows it up with something that feels similar. But hopefully it's good. That'd be cool.
And him
Uh,
working with an Indian filmmaker
yeah,
is
right.
really cool
Yeah.
too.
Um, yeah. I mean, I love Dev Patel, so I'm gonna be excited regardless. But next piece of news: a new Godzilla movie is in the works from Godzilla Minus One director Takashi Yamazaki.
Yeah, that's exciting that they're. This is such a silly piece of news. Did you watch the announcement? It's
Why would
literally
I see that?
no. It's like a 30-second clip that they posted on
Oh,
fucking
okay.
Instagram. It's like the announcement is like the studio has greenlit a new Godzilla film. More information coming soon.
So is it just
It's
a
like
follow up to Godzilla Minus One?
it's just we
more
don't
information
know.
coming soon.
We just know that it's a new Godzilla movie is happening. And it's
Okay.
like okay, I would
I mean, I
love it
liked
to be
Godzilla Minus One.
a sequel to Godzilla minus one would be very good
Godzilla
because
-2.
well, because like if you remember, Godzilla minus one did end on a
In a way that
cliffhanger.
is good for a
Yes,
sequel.
and I would
It's
be down
prime
for
it's
it because
prime
guess
sequel
what?
material.
Unlike some fucking losers on Twitter, I like that movie. I like
Are
Godzilla
people
minus
talking
one.
shit about Godzilla Minus One on Twitter?
There were people that were saying it was imperialist propaganda.
Oh, right. Yes, I remember that.
Talking
Yep.
about remilitarizing. It's a movie about remilitarizing Japan.
Right. Yes.
Um, I like that
Um,
movie.
yeah, I like that movie too. If you thought that was a piece of silly news, wait until you hear this next one, because I already know you don't want to talk about this. Game of Thrones movie is in the works at Warner
Okay.
Bros. It's in early development, and we do not yet know a writer, cast,
Game of
filmmaker,
Thrones
or
movie?
where and who in the universe it will cover.
I
But
thought that show
they
ended.
are planning a movie. Yes, the show
The
ended,
shit
but
is
there's
not happening.
currently actively a spin-off show airing on television. There is
Yeah, but
another
like, so it's like
out
movie
next year.
set in the universe, not
Yes.
like a expansion of.
I so we don't that's the thing is that we don't know if it's
Okay,
going to be one of the various spin-off ideas they have or if it's going to be some kind of continuation
Jon
with
Snow
characters
movie.
from the show. I would
What
see
if
the
it's
thing
an
is
animated movie like Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim? You know what I
that could
mean?
be possible. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but
I don't know. I'm just
I don't know. Well, the thing is like they talk. The part of the article says, and I remember when this was a thing. We might have even. No, I don't know if we ever talked about it on the podcast, but like the report like a long time ago was that they always wanted it to be like show the whole way through and then end it with like a trilogy of movies, and then that
yeah.
like never happened.
That was the idea that the
Um,
showrunners had.
yeah, uh, and that made sense to me at the time because I was like, yeah, this is obviously like a big cinematic thing. It's like a show that is obviously much larger than most television, like in terms of scale. So it didn't surprise me,
What would
I
make
don't
the
know what they would
most
do.
sense is wait for George R. R. Martin to not even wait, just have George R. R. Martin finish that book and then make a movie based off that book.
Yeah, but I just wonder Like, I'm so confused. I'm like, is this going to just be something that goes with the characters from Game of Thrones, or is it because if they're just gonna make a spin-off movie that gets released in theaters as opposed to one of the various spin-off TV shows that they're doing, I like I don't think that movie would be very successful. It's like nobody I don't know if that people
How
would care
big?
about it.
So, how big is the book that the House of the Dragon's based off of? Because can they do something from that for the
I think
movie?
it's smaller,
Okay,
but I
because I
also
don't.
think the interest would be I mean, House of the Dragon lost viewers in the second season, like
Right.
a pretty decent chunk of them. I think if you were gonna make a Game of Thrones movie, the way you would get butts in the seats is
Is
it
calling
would
it Game of Thrones the movie.
it would have to do with the original show. Yeah, it would have to do with the characters
Jon Snow.
from the main
It's just called
show.
Jon Snow.
That's no, that could be I swear to God, if they were if there's no details about this movie yet, if they want this movie to be as successful as possible, they make the Jon Snow spin-off show a movie instead. That's the thing that would get people to go
Get
watch
Kit
this.
Harington a real job.
Yeah.
Not a Jon Snow.
Not as Jon Snow, but that's
Exactly.
apparently all that people care about him for. Um, yeah, that I think that would be I don't think it's the most likely outcome, but that would be the one that makes the most sense for them, I think, because I don't know how many people would want to go see a Game of Thrones spin-off movie as opposed to just watching it at home as a TV show. I don't know.
Yeah.
I assume you have no input on this, Owen, but next piece of news. This was an interesting one. I just like didn't hear about this until I was looking at the news. But Theo James to star in The Hole from director Kim Ji Woon. It follows a successful professor living abroad in South Korea who is bedridden after a devastating car accident that killed his wife, Sandy. If for people who aren't familiar, Kim Ji Woon directed I Saw the Devil, among other movies. And Theo James is like kind of a guy I like actually. Kind of a fan of him a little bit after the White Lotus, I will say. Um, this is like
Theo
interesting.
gonna be in the Monkey Man, the new.
Yeah, the or just Monkey, you mean, right? Or is it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Oh,
main.
the Monkey. Yeah,
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 correct. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I don't know. Like, I like him, even though like mostly I guess he's just famous for being in Divergent movies or whatever. Um, but like I feel like he could act, and it'd be cool to see him in a movie directed by like a real director. And I really like I Saw the Devil, so I haven't watched any of Kim Ji Woon's other movies, so I don't know how good the quality of those are. But this was like a cool thing to see. And when I read the description, like the full description, I was like, this seems like it could be an interesting one. I don't know. Kim Ji Woon also like, worth mentioning, like some of those other movies that I haven't seen, people do really like Bittersweet Life and Tale of Two Sisters and stuff. Like it seems like this guy makes good movies. So it's cool. And the description for the movie kind of says that it takes place both in South Korea and the United States. It's like half the story is in the US, half of it is in South Korea, and they're filming in both locations. Um, and it's going to be both half in English, half in Korean. So I don't know. I'm curious about this one.
Happy he's making a movie.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Uh, Next piece of news, which I guess you guys don't care about as much either. Greta Gerwig is in talks with IMAX to potentially release her Narnia films in theaters over Thanksgiving before releasing them on Netflix for Christmas in 2026.
Yeah, I mean,
We kind of talked
Greta,
about
uh,
this.
Greta Gerwig's trying to like get her eat her dinner and get dessert. You know what I mean? She like you can't get it all, girl. Like what you know? Like what do you mean you're trying to deal with Netflix and then you're also like trying to do a backdoor deal with IMAX? Like come on, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I agree.
that's my input on that. That's my top level analysis of
I feel
of
like
these new Narnia movies.
well, so I'm interested because I think I think this like little section of the news here gets like progressively worse for you guys, and then I have a really good one at the end of it. So I'm gonna make you guys work for that one. Um, Micah Monroe is set to lead Chloe Akuno's horror film Brides, described as a gothic, glamorous, and gory tale that will flip Bram Stoker's narrative on its head, exploring the struggle
they're
between
always gonna
societal
flip it, man. They're
repression
always
and
gonna
carnal
flip it on his head.
desire.
Yeah, I don't like that language of it's gonna be flipped on its
Oh, we're
head. Like, who
flipping
wrote
it.
that? Who
We're
said
doing
that?
Dracula, but it's with
It's
Aquafina as
described.
a cop, dude. Like, it's like, jeez, dude. Stop flipping that shit, dude.
I would like it if they had
Did you
just
guys
made.
see that movie Watcher? I feel like we talked about this.
No,
Neither of you watched it,
I
right?
didn't watch her.
Okay, that's a good.
What if they
Jesus
just did? What if they just did a movie that's like Bram Stoker's Dracula, except that stars Micah Monroe, and that's the whole thing. You know what I mean?
No,
No, you have to
gotta
flip it
flip
on
it,
its
man.
head,
You gotta
dude.
flip it on its head.
Gotta flip it. You don't understand,
You
man.
gotta break. You gotta break dance on
This
its
is what
chest.
people want. They want the
They
thing
want
they
to be
like.
flipping on
They
its
want the
head.
thing they like, but they want it to be flipped.
Yeah,
Yeah.
flip it like a
They already
pancake.
have seen it. They already got Dracula. Now we're gonna flip it.
No, you're right.
How about this next one? Kind of similar, in a similar vein. Margaret Qualley to star in gothic horror thriller Victorian Psycho. It's about an eccentric governess who will be taking care of the children in a remote gothic manor whilst hiding her psychopathic tendencies. Zachary Wygon is directing, who previously
Whew.
did Sanctuary with Margaret Qualley like 2 years ago.
Mhm.
And Virginia Fado, the author of the upcoming novel that the movie is based on, is writing the script. So
The book
the
hasn't come out
novel,
yet.
no, the novel comes out in February, I believe, of next year, or January or February. So the book's not out yet, but they're making the
How
movie
does he know
already.
it's a good book?
Maybe he
Listen,
got to
he
read.
got a
Maybe he got to read
deal.
it early.
Yeah,
What the
somebody got to read
fuck?
it early. Listen, my again top level analysis of this piece of news.
Okay.
I like it when beautiful, talented women get jobs. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You know what?
Um,
And to be fair, I like Sanctuary. So, and I think that's his debut. If I had to guess, I don't know. I don't know that he made a movie before that, but
You're the
um,
guy, man.
I don't know. You guys didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it. It's probably
Yeah.
good. I don't know.
It's good. It's fun.
Probably bad.
It's like it's a very like small film during COVID movie. So I want this movie sounds
Oh, so this is
much
like
bigure than
his shackles
Sanctuary.
are
Sanctuary
gone.
all takes place in like one room. It's like the whole movie takes place in like a hotel room. This is
Yeah.
well, I guess they say that this movie all takes place in like a gothic manor, so I guess it is one location kind of
Sanctuary
deal. But
for Hot Topic.
um Uh, Al Pacino, Jessica Chastain, Brendan Fraser, and Bryan Cranston have been cast in Assassination, directed by Barry Levinson. The film explores a new take on the JFK conspiracy, centering on the first female crime reporter in America, Dorothy Kilgallen. So they're
How
remaking
fucking old
JFK.
is
What do we
Barry
mean a
Levinson?
new
They're
take on the JFK
Yeah, so
conspiracy?
they're remaking Oliver Stone's JFK, but with a different,
With
but instead of
they're
what's his
already
name's
82
character,
years
Kevin
old.
Costner?
yeah, instead of
Um,
Kevin Costner's character, it's about a female reporter looking into the case.
Oh, they're
sure,
not
And
gonna
that could
like
be
that.
cool. I
and
don't
I'm
They're
know.
sure
not gonna like
coming to
that.
like similar conclusions.
They're not
You
gonna
know,
like what they
it's like
did.
what's the movie?
Yeah, the
What's
conclusion
the
is
movie's purpose?
there's something fishy going on here. That's the
Fuck,
conclusion
Well,
they're
I
gonna
man.
draw.
I looked at her Wikipedia. I did a little bit of a deep dive. I don't know much. I didn't look too deep into her, but my understanding is that there are theories that that her death is sketchy. Apparently,
Okay.
Ooh.
the
Okay.
reporter's
So
death
it's
is
fuck
sketchy
JFK. It's the
because they
death.
because well no like
Wait, does she die in
I
the
think the
movie?
understanding is that she published several pieces about how the JFK assassination was
And they
potentially
killed
fishy,
her.
and then they think that she, as a result, could have been,
So it's like
you know,
Barry
potentially
Levinson's
murdered.
82 years old and it's like a Facebook nut.
Yeah. Um, I don't really know why we need another movie
I just
about the
think maybe
JFK conspiracy
I don't know
thing.
why we need
what
another movie.
what happens to like taking inspiration from things in real life and then making a fictional narrative? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What
It's like
happened?
you could have like made this more interesting if it wasn't about JFK and it was about like a fake assassination.
It was about like the Donald Trump assassination.
Yeah, that is a fake assassination. Yeah, no, that's a good one. Uh, did you see the clip of him on the Joe Rogan Experience where he's like, "Yeah, I got shot here right in my ear," and then Joe Rogan was
Joe
like,
Rogan's
"I
like,
can't see." He's like,
yeah,
"Where?"
there's nothing there.
There's nothing there.
Oh.
uh, okay, let me bring it all together with this last piece of
He's gonna
news.
get flagged.
Skinamarink director Kyle Edward Ball
Oh,
has
let's
teamed up with
go.
A24 for his next horror film, The Land of Nod.
Crazy title. That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. That's what I'm talking about, man.
WA24.
WA24.
Yeah,
W
W
Kyle
Kyle
Edward
Edward Ball.
Ball.
W
W
Skinamarink.
Skinamarink. Yeah.
W new movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
W nodding. W land.
W.
W nodding on land.
I'm nodding. I'm
Um,
nodding.
Yeah, do we know what the
Nope.
movie's about at all? Is it
Nope.
because didn't he remember when he posted about that script that he was writing? Was that this movie?
Yes. He
Okay.
said that it is not like Skinamarink.
Yes.
And that's what
Which
we
I would
got.
assume because
Yeah.
Skinamarink is like, how do I make a horror movie with $10?
Yeah, now he has
And
money.
like now he has money, so now he can really like kind of come into his own, like in like a stronger sense, and like kind of like what does he actually want to do? I mean, I'm sure there will be some similarities to Skinamarink, and like obviously he's the same guy, right?
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see where he goes.
No, I'm
Because
really excited because I
Skinamarink
feel
is
like
a little more experimental than this one might be.
yeah,
I mean,
but I feel like
it reminds me uh of of Jane when they went from what's the movie called, what the fuck's that movie called? The movie they made before I saw the TV Glow, that being we're all going to the World's Fair.
yeah, we're all
We're,
going to
we
the World's
are
Fair. I didn't know what you were talking about
we
for
are
a
all
second.
going to the World's Fair is very like, how do I make a movie with all these restraints? And then I saw the TV Glow is them doing something with more freedom and more money and all that stuff. So I think it'll be a similar thing where it's like, okay, now we're seeing what you're gonna do with more really.
Right.
So really exciting.
More!
Honestly, I think Kyle is one
Yeah.
of the more interesting young upcoming filmmakers that has like
Yeah.
one
Well,
movie.
because I'm excited because it's like I know the horror part of it's gonna work, and so
Oh, yeah.
I want to see what like one of his scripts like looks like because I'm sure he is smart enough to make something interesting out of it, and like the
Yeah.
horror is obviously gonna be appealing. So because like
Yeah, but
very
it's
scary as
interesting
fuck.
because
So
Skinamarink is like singular in like a way that,
yeah,
and if he's gonna do something different, I'm very interested in that.
Yeah, I wonder because now he's gonna like presumably maybe like direct actors that are talking to each other on camera
yeah,
and
like
stuff
it'll
like
be like
that.
I'm assuming that like there'll be a face in this movie,
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, no, really
It's
exciting
cool though
stuff.
that A24 picked it up. Yeah, I mean that's like
Yeah, it makes sense for them.
that means
No, it's
people
cool
are
that
yeah
they're
no I
like
mean it makes sense, but it
producing
also
it, yeah.
it means that people are gonna see it, which is cool.
It's cool that yeah, he's getting to continue to make movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah,
Awesome. That is our last piece of news. We're gonna wrap up there. Next week, episode 91, we will be talking about Heretic and some other movie, probably.
Heretic.
We'll see you later.
Heretic.
Is that your tick? Your heretic tick?